A pleasant day to everyone. My name is Cyril B. Bandal and my topic for this morning is Agricultural Economics and Marketing. Economics. Economics is a study of how human beings satisfy their material needs and wants from the resources available. So economics is a science or a study in which it is to cover or to satisfy the unlimited wants and needs of an individual over the limited resources. The three elements of economic perspective are scarcity, rational behavior, and marginalism. Scarcity is a condition in which resources available are insufficient to satisfy human wants. So it is a state in which the resources we have or the limited resources we have are insufficient to cover up or to satisfy the human wants and needs. Next is rational behavior. Economics is grounded on the assumption of rational self-interest, meaning to say individual makes rational decision to achieve the greatest satisfaction or the maximum fulfillment of their goals. Marginalism. Economics choices are made based on the additional benefit or additional cost that will be incurred in making a particular decision. Therefore, in economics, possible consequences of the alternative choices are analyzed or weighed on the basis of added benefits and cost. So, it does mean that marginalism is that you are to weigh things between the product and its alternative or the substitute. Imuhang pilion dato kung aha ang mas maka-benefit ka, aha ka maka-less or aha ang best. So that is marginalism. The basic concepts related to scarcity are choice, trade-off, and opportunity cost. So choice, because of limited budget, consumer make choices among several goods and services available. Because of limited resources, businesses chose between the different combination of inputs to produce a certain product. So ang choice, it is where kanang imuhang pilion nga kanang maka-cover up sa imuhang satisfaction muna siya kanang mapili ka sa goods nga kanang or services nga available sa market. Another is for the businesses is kanang ilahang choice is kanang to create a product out from the raw materials nga kanang available. For example is that kanang ang raw material is ang coffee. Paunsa nila i-produce ang coffee nga makaproduce sila og another product out from the raw products nga coffee. Next is trade-off. It is a choice between alternative uses for a given quantity of resources. Using resource for one purpose means that the same resource cannot be used for another purpose. In other words, we give up something to get something else. So trade-off is that a certain product has an alternative or substitute. So mapili ka kung aha ka mas maka-benefit, kung aha imuhang ibaylo sa imuhang gusto. It's either ang alternative or ang original product nga ang imuhang gusto nga or gusto. So naka-i-give up sa ilaha isa. Another is opportunity cost. It is real economic cost of a good service produced or measured by the value of a sacrifice alternative. It refers to the cost value of the highest valued alternative we give up in preferring our chosen alternatives. So ang opportunity cost is kanang if kato siya nga imuhang gipili or kato siya imuhang gi-choose alternative or nga decision is kanang mas makabuhat ba ka ato og more nga output or more nga product out ato nga kanang choice nga imuhang gipili. So it is opportunity cost. Another is the foundation of economics. So the two facts dominates our lives is we have limited resources and we have unlimited wants. So wants are the desires of the customers to obtain and use various goods and services which gives pleasure or satisfaction. It is generally classified as necessities and luxuries. So anything it is worldly or our necessities or kanang it is anything that we want just to satisfy or just to give us pleasure. So it is either necessities or luxuries. Another is needs, are basic necessities for survival like food and water and shelter. So needs are those are those goods or products nga kanang dili ta mabuhi og wala og kanang dili na to na sila ma-acquire. For example is water, the food, the shelter. Muna siya mga basic needs nga para mabuhi ta. Another is factors of reduction or the scarce resources. So land refers to all natural resource, all free gifts of nature which are usable in the productive process. The payment I received by owner as remuneration for land is called rent. So another is capital. Capital or investment goods refers to all manufactured aids to production. It includes the tools, the equipment, machinery, factory, storage area, transport, and distribution facilities, or the capital goods. Another is the financial goods, and other hand is the money used to purchase the capital goods. The remuneration for the use of capital resource is called interest. So ang capital or investment is muna siya ang kanang mga startup nimo nga kanang mga asset in which dira ka makaput up sa imong business. So muna siya ang imong preliminary nga kanang mga asset nga kanang makaput up sa imong business tanan. Another is labor, refers to all man's physical and mental talents usable in the production. Remuneration for labor resource is called wage or salary. It is the physical effort expended by man in the production process. So muna siya ang ginabuhat sa imuhang human resource, ang muhatag sila labor or mo-provide sila og services sa imuhang business. It's either physical or mental. So ang remuneration sa ilahang service or labor nga kanang gi-renders sa imuhang business is called wage or salary. Another is entrepreneurial ability or entrepreneurship is the resource used to combine the first three resources. This resource takes the initiative in innovating products and bear risk. So entrepreneurial ability is kanang it is your ability kung paunsa nimo gamiton ang land, capital, even your labor or your human resource para kanang makabuhat ka og business. So kung paunsa nimo sila mahimong useful sa imuha. So it is how you innovate your products and you also take risk. So macroeconomics. Macroeconomics is the study of the economy as a whole or with the basic subdivision or aggressive such as government, household, and business sector. It seeks to explain average prices, total output, GNP, GDP, total employment, total income, effects of taxes, government spending, and effects of money and interest rates and government budget deficit. So macroeconomics is a study of the overall kanang activities sa isa ka nation or a state kanang including ang mga export o ang import. So nagasali siya sa overall activity sa market as well as sa mga expenses sa economy, which is macroeconomics. Another is agricultural economics. It is an applied science primarily concerned with the solution of economic problem in agriculture. It is also concerned with the identification, description, and classification of economic problems in agriculture. In order to solve them, such problems include financing, production, and marketing. Agricultural economics, it is how you ang paunsa nimo i-address ang problem sa economic agricultural problem. So kung paunsa nimo i-sell ang goods or ang mga commodity, agricultural commodity. So also ang agricultural economics is it is concerned to identify, describe, and classify economics problem in regards to agriculture. So these problems include the financing, the production, as well as ang marketing. So that is agricultural economics. Next is positive versus normative economics. Positive economics deals with what the economy is actually like. It focuses on facts and avoid value judgment. It tries to establish scientific statement about economic behavior. It is concerned with what is described the situation as it is. Positive economics is kung unsa ang atong economy karon. So dili ka mo look out sa future, kung unsay nahitabo sa ato ang economy karon. So that is positive economics. Normative economics deals with value judgment about what the economy should be like or what a particular policy action should be like or should be recommended. It is often called policy economics. It embodies subjective feeling about what ought to be. So normative economics, it is a fully your desire or kanang imuhang gusto nga mahitabo in the future or in the coming nga kanang nga mahitabo sa ito ang economy nga kanang inyuhang gusto. Compared to positive economics is kung mojud karon, the normative economics is kung unsa imong gusto nga welfare sa economy at the present or at the future. Okay, economic system. Traditional or subsistence economy. This is the earliest form of economic system. All economic activities in this system are accompanied outside the market. Each family takes care of its own economic needs, no money, banking activities, and trade. Only barter system is practiced as a form of exchange or trade. Traditional decides what the people do for a living on how their work will be performed. So, ang kanang traditional economy is that kanang there is an exchanging of goods called barter nga kanang walay without or the exclusion of money. So dili involve ang money ani kanang walay pricing kun dili exchange lang nimo ang good nga both of you can benefit. Another is tradition decides what the people do for a living and how their work will be performed. So traditional economy is kanang muna siya sa una kanang kung unsa ang available nga kanang resources nga pwede nilang makuhaan og livelihood is muna sila ilahang buhaton. Capitalism or market economy or free enterprises laissez-faire. In this system, that means a production is owned and controlled by private individuals or group. Government plays only a relatively small role, and it is the market that determines how much resources are allocated. Nations' economic decisions are the result of individuals' decision of buyer and seller in a marketplace. The people's decision act as voter as they accomplish this by buying a particular product. Consumers play a key role in determining what to produce. So in this system is that kanang private sectors has the power to control or to own their property. So ang government is kanang less nga mo interfere ang government ani. So it is relatively nga ang government has only a small role sa market, as well as there is also a free entrance and exit sa market. So ang consumer is ang determinants nga unsa ang i-produce. So sila ang naga-demand kung unsa i-produce sa market. Muna siya ang capitalism or market economy. For this economic system to work, the following factors should be considered nga mo-work ang market economy. Next is private property. This refers to exclusive right of a person to buy, keep, use, and sell or give away things of value. So private property is kanang ang owner is pwede niyang i-own ang iyahang property kay kanang na siya power or control kung iyahang i-keep ang iyahang mga property. Kung paunsa niya i-utilize or i-innovate ang ihang property. Another is freedom of enterprise. This means that private business are free to obtain economic resource. So, ang freedom of enterprise is kanang ang entrance ug exit sa market is ikaw nga kanang entrepreneur is kanang you have the authority nga kanang kung unsa imo ang gusto nga apilan nga industry or kanang unsa imo ang gusto nga i-produce nga you have the freedom of enterprise. Another is the freedom of choice. This means that owners can employ or dispose of their property and money as they see fit. It also means that workers are free to enter any lines of work in which they are qualified. Another is self-interest. Each economic unit attempts to get what is best for itself. So, kanang ikaw nga buyer is pwede ka mo purchase sa product nga kanang makita nimo kung unsay best or unsay imong gusto. Kanang everyone is free to purchase or to sell kung unsa ang imong gustong i-sell or i-produce, as well as imong i-purchase. Another is competition. it's because kay kanang daghan ang free, like everyone can join the market is free, so competition is present in the market. Another is market and prices. Market serves as coordinating mechanism, and prices serve as guideposts in which resources, owners, entrepreneurs, and consumers make and revise their free choice as they pursue self-interest. Another is limited government. So limited ang kanang role sa government here sa free market. Last ang intervention sa government sa market. Another is command economy or communism. In this system, the economic decisions are made by the government. No person may independently decide to open or run a business. This system is also known as socialist, authoritarian, or centralized economy. The factors of production are owned by the government. So, full intervention of the government sa market sa command economy. So, ang government is, siya ang nag-hold sa power nga kanang siya ang nag-own sa market. So, siya ang mag-decide kung unsa ang imong i-put up nga business as well as kung unsa ang imong i-produce nga business. So the government is authoritarian so ang government ang magbuot sa tanan including sa market. Next is socialism. In this system, the power government owns and operates many of the nation's major industries such as banks, airline, railroads, and power plants, but allows individuals to own other businesses including stores, farms, and factories. Pricing, allocation, and production methods are mainly determined by market forces. However, the government may intervene for specific objectives. Example for that place is Sweden. Today, when socialism is mentioned, it is often to refer as the mixed economic system that have emerged in Western Europe. The term mixed refers to the mixtures of regulated capitalism and a socialistic version of communism in the sense of public ownership and the means of production. So, socialism is ang government ang nag-own sa mga major industries sa market, which is ang banking, ang airlines, pero nasa part ang individual or ang private sector, such as pwede silang kanang mag-run sa business such as kanang stores, farming, and factories. That is socialism. Fascism. The economic system is more easily associated with political regimes in which power is concentrated largely on a strong one-man dictatorship or in any case of one-party dictatorship. Big industries support the objectives of the state. Under this economic system, the function of the market mechanism is inoperative. Since one or few companies exert great monopoly power, the choice of what types of goods would be produced and what types of industries would grow, of course, there was private ownership, but with great limitations on personal freedom enforced by the leadership, the choices open to private enterprise were indeed limited. Thus, fascism is more easily identified as political system which, with elements of strong dictatorship enjoyed by a single man in group, say a military junta. So, fascism is kanang isa ka person ang nag-hold sa authority or power, siya ang nag-dominate sa market. So, siya ang siya ang naay strong power sa market. So, this person is a dictator kay kanang siya ang nag-operate or any activity sa market. That is fascism. Demand is defined as a schedule in which shows the various demands of a product which consumers are willing and able to purchase at a specific price at a set of possible prices during some specific period of time. So, demand is kanang muna siya ang wants o ang needs sa isa ka individual nga willing nilang i-purchase at a specific price and time. So, demand is kanang muna siya ang gusto sa consumer nga i-produce sa market. Another is quantity demanded is a good or services in amount of good or services that consumers plan to buy during a specific period of time. Ang quantity demand is kung unsa kadaghan, kung it refers sa kadaghanon sa purchase sa consumer or kanang gidemand sa consumers. Muna siya ang quantity demand. Another is law of demand states that as prices falls, the corresponding quantity demanded rises, or alternatively, as prices increases, the corresponding quantity demanded falls during things, or ceteris paribus. In other words, there is an inverse relationship between prices and quantity demanded. So ang law of demand is kanang if ang quantity demanded rise, prices will fall, as well as if ang quantity demanded will fall, then the prices will increase. So it has an inverse relationship between prices and quantity demanded. Supply is defined as a schedule which shows the various demand of a product which producers are willing or able to produce or make available for sale in the market at each specific price in a set of possible prices during some specific period of time. Supply is muna siya ang cover up sa demand sa consumer. Ang supply is muna siya ang ability or ang willingness sa producer nga i-produce sa supplier nga mahimong available sa market. So muna siya ang supply. So ang supply is mo cover sa demand sa consumer. Another is market supply is the sum of all individuals producer firm supply in the market. So it is an overall or kanang ang totality isum up nimo ang kanang tanang supply sa producer and a producer sa market. Another is quantity supplied of a good or services is the amount of a good or services that producers plan to sell during a specific period of time. So ang quantity supplied is muna siya ang kanang sa kadaghanon sa kanang sa supply nga kanang ihimong available sa producer nga kanang iyahang willing nga kanang ibaligya sa market. Muna siya ang quantity supplied, ang kadaghanon nga i-supply sa producer. Another is law of supply states that as prices fall, the corresponding quantity supplied decreases, or alternatively, as prices increases, the corresponding quantity supplied increases, other things, or ceteris paribus. In other words, there is a direct relationship between prices and quantity supplied. So law of supply is that kanang if ang quantity supplied decreases, or alternatively prices will fall, as well as if ang quantity supplied mag-increase sad ang price. So there is a direct relationship between prices and quantity supplied sa law of supply. So compared to kanang law of demand is there is an inverse relationship, while the supply has a direct relationship between prices and quantity supplied. Market equilibrium refers to the quantity where supplied and quantity demanded are equal. So ang quantity supplied o ang quantity demanded sa market is kanang equal. So market equilibrium, equal ang kanang supply ug ang demand sa market. Another is market equilibrium price refers to a price where quantity supplied and quantity demanded are equal. It is price that clears the market. So ang quantity equilibrium, while ang quantity demand o quantity supplied is kanang equal, ang market equilibrium price is muna siya ang price nga kanang mo cover up sa kanang overall cost sa pag-make up sa product. So muna siya ang price nga kanang fair siya sa market. In mathematical equation, market equilibrium is shown as QD is equals to QS, where QD is quantity demanded and QS is quantity supplied. A surplus occurs when supply is greater than demand, and surplus where cause a competitive bidding down of price by sellers eager to relieve themselves of their surplus. So ang surplus is supply is greater than demand. So ang pricing strategy ana is that if ang supply is greater or if there is an increase in supply, then decrease ang demand. So there will be a tendency nga kanang ang price will fall para kanang ma-relieve or ma-cover up ang overall surplus or ang katong nanubra nga mga supply. Another is ang shortage And of course, when demand is greater than supply, it will cause a competitive bidding up by buyers, pushing the price up towards the equilibrium price and quantity. So ang shortage is kanang there is an increase in demand while shortage ang supply. So if ang supply ang kanang decreasing ang supply while ang demand is increasing, so na tendency nga ang price is will increase. So muna siya ang kanang marketing strategy sa kanang every entrepreneur. Microeconomics. So ang microeconomics muna siya ang economics nga nag-study sa activity sa individual market. So nag-cover din siya sa kanang sa small part sa market, while macroeconomics is i-cover up niya or ma-study siya sa overall activity sa economy. Utility or cardinal approach. Utility refers to the ability of the goods to satisfy a human wants. The utility of a good or services is a satisfaction or pleasure one gets from consuming it. So also, utility adds value to your product. So total utility refers to the entire amount of satisfaction a consumer receives from consuming a good at various rates. The more of an item a consumer consumes per unit of time, the greater will be the total utility or satisfaction received from it up to a certain point or a saturation point. Marginal utility is an extra satisfaction a consumer realizes from an additional unit of a product, or the change in total utility as a quantity of a good is changed. So under pure competition, or the total approach is perfect or pure competition is characterized by a large number of sellers and buyer of the commodity, each too small to affect the prices of the commodity. Outputs of all firms in the market are homogeneous, perfect mobility of resources, consumers, resource, and owners and firms in the market have perfect knowledge of present and future prices and cost. No restrictions in the entry in the economy. So under pure competition is kanang there is a large number of sellers and buyers of a commodity sa market, as well as kanang ikaw nga small enterprise or ikaw nga small business is dili ka maka-affect sa prices sa market. It's either kanang i-low nimo ang imong prices gamay compared to your competitor para mas mo imong pricing strategy para mas daghan ka og customer. Another is kanang outputs of all firms in the market are homogeneous. It is because it is a pure competition. So kanang tanang tanang firms or tanang entrepreneurs is same mo og gina-produce nga product. So, another is kanang ang consumer ug ang producer is kanang they have a perfect knowledge sa market, including the price as well as ang cost ana nga product. So there is no restriction in the entrance and exit of a market. So anyone can put up a business in a pure perfect competition. So in pure competition markets, such as most in agriculture products, price is a given by the intersection of market supply and market demand curve. Producers, sellers are generally are price takers. An individual seller's demand is perfectly inelastic. It is because all firms acting independently but simultaneously can increase price by reducing the output. Next is pure monopoly. Pure monopoly refers to the form of market organization in which there is a simple firm producing a commodity for which there is no close substitute. The firm is in the industry and faces negatively sloped demand curve for the commodity. The demand curve of the monopolist equals to the market demand curve. As a result, if the monopolist wants to sell more of the commodity, he must lower his price. Pure monopoly is only one firm is ang nag-dominate sa market. So siya ang nag-cover up sa demand sa market. So iyahang gina-cover up ang tanang demand kanang siya ra man gud ang nagaproduce ana nga commodity or goods. So siya ang nag-dominate sa market, as well as walay substitute or no close substitute or alternative ana nga product. So siya dyan nag-dominate sa market. As well as if the monopolist want to sell more of the commodity that he produces, he must lower his price. Next is oligopoly. Oligopoly is a market organization where there is a few sellers of a commodity so that the action of which sellers affect to each other. So, ang oligopoly is kanang few ang firms nga nag-dominate sa market. So, ang buhaton nila nga kuan is kanang nag-share sila sa ilahang marketing strategy as well as ang ilahang pricing. Ang naga-differ dahil sila sa ilahang marketing strategy kung paunsa nila isell ang ilahang produce. Pero ang pricing is the same. So only few firms ang nag-dominate sa market. Another is monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition refers to the market organization in which there is many firms selling closely related but not identical commodities. Because of this product differentiation, the seller has the same degree of control over the price he charges and thus face a negatively sloped demand curve. However, the existence of many close substitutes severely limits his monopoly power and result in a highly elastic demand curve. If a single firm is monopolistically competitive, industry lower its price. It is more down along its highly elastic demand curve, increase its sales substantially. However, in all for a firm in the industry lower their prices simultaneously, the sales of each firm will increase by less. So ang monopolistic is muna siya ang kanang kabaliktaran sa kanang sa market nga sa pure monopoly. So ang kaning monopolistic competition is kanang there is a close related or naa siya kanang mga substitute pero dili siya identical nga commodity, as well as nagdiffer lang sila sa kanang sa branding or ang iyang usage, pero same sila, ay closely related ra sila nga kanang goods or product nga gisell. Muna siya ang monopolistic competition. So macroeconomics is concerned with performance of the economy as a whole or with large sectors of it, such as government, business firms, and household. Macroeconomics attempts to explain why the economy's total output of goods and services fluctuates every time, giving time to the business cycle with its accompanying upward and downward movements in the unemployment and inflation rates. The components of macroeconomy is the private sector or the household and firms, government, which is the public sector, and the rest of the world, the international sector. So transfer payments are cash payments made by the governments to people who do not supply goods and services or labor in exchange of this payment. The SSS benefits, the veterans, and other welfare benefits. So the three market arenas are goods and services, labor market, money or financial market. So goods and services market are business firms is the major supplier sector, while labor market, household is the major supplier sector to business firms and government. So GNP and GDP are the two ways to measure the economy's output. So gross national product is the value of the total output produced with labor or capital owned by Philippines national regardless of location in a specific period. GNP consists of the total output produced by land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurial talents supplied by Filipinos, whether these resources are located in the Philippines or abroad. While GDP refers to the market value of all final product and services produced and consumed within the economy's jurisdiction in a given period. It comprises the value of the total goods and services produced within the boundaries of the Philippines, whether by Filipinos or foreign supplied resources. So GNP and GDP is are the two ways to measure economy's output. So that would be all, and I hope that all of you understand, and thank you for listening. That would be all, and God bless.